I am Rabbi Nathan Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of WebYeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. I'm going to talk about this week's Parsha, which is a very important Torah reading. It's the Parsha of Yitro. It's the Parsha where the Jewish people received the Torah together with the 613 commandments in the Torah. This is a point in Jewish history where the Jewish people reached the zenith, the most exalted position that they ever had, leaving from the depravity of slavery in Egypt to reaching the zenith of receiving the Torah. The Torah, which has been a guidepost for not only Jews, but for humanity in general. We learn from this particular Torah portion the importance of unity and the concept that it was unity that allowed the Jewish people to receive the Torah. As we learn from every part of the Torah, we learn lessons for everyday life. One of the important lessons we learn from this is how to reach our individual highest potential by unity. Unfortunately, we look around us and we see just the opposite of unity. You see baseless hatred, sinas chinam, which is what destroyed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. We need to replace that with ahavas chinam, not baseless hate, not hating everybody else, but recognizing the importance of unifying with one another, recognizing that we're all children of God. How is this taught in the Torah, in this particular portion? Well, I want to start by talking about an interesting thing that we do during the Passover Seder. Now, I know Pesach isn't here yet. Pesach comes about another month and a half approximately. But there's an interesting song that we sing in the Pesach Seder. It's in the Haggadah, and it says, "Kama malos tovos lamakom aleinu." How wonderful! How many wonderful things has God done for us? And then there's a list of things. It's you know this as the Dayenu song. One of the things it says is Ilur karvano lifnei har Sinai v'lo nasan lanu es haTorah Dayenu. If God had only brought us to Mount Sinai and had not given us the Torah, that would have been enough. Well, that raises a question: what in the world does that mean? The whole purpose of going to Sinai was to receive the Torah, wasn't it? So, what good would it have done just to get to Sinai? The answer to that is found in this week's Parsha, where it says at the very beginning, Vayisu Merfidim. The children of Israel journeyed from the place called Rephidim, Yovu Midbar Sinai, and they came to the wilderness of Sinai. By then it says Yachnu Midbar, they camped in the wilderness. Then it says Vayichan Sham, Neged Hor. The word Vayichan, they camped, is in the singular, as if one person camped. So what does this sentence mean? First of all, we have to look at Rashi. Rashi says, Vayisu Mirafidim says they left they left from Rafidim. Rafidim was a place of disputes, of fighting with one another. He says they camped as one person. The singular. And he says, Rashi says, they were belev echad u'ish echad. The word vayichan comes to teach us that they were as one people, one person with one heart. They had total unity. The Orach Chaim HaKodesh, the Holy Orach Chaim, says that there are three three different steps that needed to be taken to receive the Torah. And he says the third thing is that the Jewish people had to realize that if they are alone, it is like a sword hanging over their loneliness. He said the purpose of the Jew is to unite one with the other, and he says to Vayisparu panim zel lezeh, their faces should be turned towards one another in unity. V'cheneged zeh v'yichan sham Yisrael loshan yachid. He says this written in the singular. Shenasu kulan yachid k'ish echad v'hein atahein ruim lekabbalas Torah. He says only when they are of one mind, of one person, are they fitting to receive the Torah. This past Sunday, the world lost a wonderful friend, uh, wonderful scholar, a friend of mine who I treasured his words very greatly. And that was Rabbi Twersky, Rabbi Abraham Heschel Twersky, Dr. Twersky, who wrote many, many books. In his memory, I just want to quote one thing that he said on this Parsha, talking about the importance of unity. He says as follows: how tragic that we have allowed ourselves to be divisive. We should realize that eliminating the divisiveness that reigns among us is not merely altruistic, it is of an estimable personal benefit. These words were written a number of years ago. These words apply today as it did at the time of Har Sinai, at the time we were in the desert. It's not an altruistic statement, something that we, maybe could happen, optimistic somewhere in the world, so who knows? No, it's a recognition we must all have that to end divisiveness amongst us is of unbelievable benefit. Let us take these words to heart. Let us live our lives in a way that justify our receipt of the Torah, that justify our existence. Vayichad Sham Yisrael, as one person, one heart. Yavor Merfidim, leave the Refidim, leave the strife, the divisiveness, the fighting behind, and unite as one person, one nation. We in the world, not only the Jewish world, but the rest of the world, can certainly learn the important lesson of unity. It's not enough to talk about it, we have to do it. It's the obligation of each and every one of us. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.